Here's a video.
Sorry, you gave that up.
Here's a video with a guy calling bullshit on what he thinks are fake mental disorders.
Cool.
Mental disorders aren't real; they're fake.
All of them?
Apparently so.
Wow.
I don't know why he shows.
Hey everybody,
here
Captain here. We're doing a Uncle Unky Bernu. Bernard Chapin, check him out. He's got a YouTube channel. He always has the flag. The reason I have the flag in the back is not because I'm trying to do a Bernard Chapin. It's because the woman is in my chair where I normally film this shit, in my mother's basement at my mother's house. Of course, because that's where we all broadcast, us nerdy type asshole guys like me. Anyway.
Nerdy type asshole guy.
Nerdy type asshole guy.
You know, I never understood this about YouTube. These people have these really small channels. They make all these references like you're supposed to know what they're talking about.
Yeah,
it's
I don't
like,
know what the fuck
I'm just totally lost, and I'm like, okay, all right, I don't know what you're talking about. Just get to the point of the video.
This is, as you know, I have my consulting division.
No.
And it hasn't been that many, but it's
care.
one too many. It was the straw that broke the camel's back. And it is the people that claim they have a mental disability. And I'm not talking like schizophrenia or something serious. I'm talking what is, you know, your modern day psychological problems. ADD, Asperger's, DDHD, DDBHD,
DDHD? Never heard of that one.
That's Dungeons and Dragons high definition.
That's when you play the game in stunning HD, 1080p.
Who the fuck is he to decide which ones are real and serious and which ones are not?
A world-renowned psychiatrist.
You know, I understand when you say, hey, if you claim someone has, you know, a mental disorder or mental illness, there should be some evidence, but how does he how can he just declare that that's just made up? I don't understand.
Because he is
the arbiter of everything.
Well, no, he's a well-trained psychiatrist. Guy.
Schizophrenia is real.
Well, schizophrenia is real.
Tell me how that makes you feel.
Schizophrenia is real, man, but like all this other shit, like ADD, ADHD, all that bullshit, that's
DDHD.
All fake. DDHD, DZVQS.
You done with OPP? Yeah, you know me.
DDHD, disability. I remember one gal who was in my dance classes. She claimed she was bipolar or something, and she was living on Social Security.
That's a very serious mental
disability for Social Security. And I'm here to say I've had enough. It's all fucking bullshit. I'm calling bullshit on these bullshit fucking bullshit mental disorders.
Now
they're not
bullshit on this bullshit fucking bullshit.
Now, at first, you know, he says they're making a claim, okay, and I can understand that. Now he's making a claim, so hopefully he'll present some brilliant evidence. I'm pretty skeptical that's going to happen, but let's see.
Does he understand that at this point we actually have enough of an understanding of the brain where we can actually physically see some of the things that are happening that cause these disorders?
No.
I don't think he does.
Okay.
Real. They're a bunch of fucking bullshit, and you're using it for a fucking crutch. And I'll explain it to you two ways here.
Okay.
Why? One, I really do believe it's bullshit because this crap didn't exist 20 years ago. Okay.
Whoa. What?
20 years ago?
It didn't exist 20 years ago? Okay, just go pick up the DSM from 20 years ago, and yes, it did.
Yeah, not to mention, if he believes in human evolution, mental disorders probably existed as long as there's been humans.
But I mean, like,
and then before that, you see it in other animals. I mean,
there's actually, with a few exceptions, we can find the same disorders that mental disorders that human beings have in the animal kingdom.
Yeah.
Now, there are a few exceptions to that. Schizophrenia actually is one of the ones that there's really no animal.
Nobody observed schizophrenia symptoms.
Yeah, they don't have. There's no animal that has the same symptoms. That's at least as far as we can tell.
As far as we can tell.
But things like bipolar disorder and ADD and shit like
that. Compulsive disorders.
Now, I would agree with if he was just saying maybe that some of these disorders are overdiagnosed, or that there's people who just diagnose themselves with these disorders for the sake of attention or something like that. Then surely, yes, that does happen.
Yeah, I agree.
But to just flat out state that they don't exist. You can't just say, man, this shit went around 20 years ago. It's like, okay, yes, it was. All you have to do is consult the DSM from 20 years ago, and you'll see that, yeah, most of these disorders that are listed now are still listed then. And the other thing about it is that if you're going to contradict science, you have to present other science or talk about why you feel like the methodology that was used to arrive at the conclusion that these diseases exist is flawed somehow. You can't just say it's bullshit because I fucking think it's bullshit, man.
It's way too generalized.
If we apply the same standards today that we do to kids today, then half of my generation would have had some kind of disease. Half of all previous generations would have had some kind of fucking disease. But if you go back in time, you start to notice that the older the generations are, the more stable and mentally sane they were. The societal performance, economic performance.
No, that's not true.
That's not true.
That's just flat out false. Just because we didn't have the same advanced diagnostic techniques,
Yeah, that's what
it doesn't mean people were like more sane back then.
And people probably had a more of incentive to hide mental illness in a society that's more primitive.
Right, because it was. I mean, it's still not well understood, but
Yeah, you'd be I'm
at
sure,
that time it was even less well understood.
Yeah, you'd probably be a social pariah.
I mean, but are you really going to look at human history and say that human beings have always been, like, sane and well-adjusted and normal? I mean, are you forgetting the fucking, like, the witch hunts and the crusades and the fucking astonishing rate of violence that existed up until recent times?
Oh, yeah, you can look at just 500 years ago, look at the murder rates. Obviously these are estimates. What is it? The Steven Pinker book, The Better Angels of Our Nature?
Better Angels of Our Nature.
Yeah, go read that book and go see if this argument holds any water to you afterwards.
It was much better than it was today. Right?
No.
So don't tell me that there are these new problems creeping up. They've always been with society. It's just that society fucking dealt with them. And I don't believe there's just problems, right? They're just problems every day everybody has.
Ways.
Okay, so that's one thing. I don't believe they're real fucking these. Now, if you're like Rain Man, yeah, that might be real autism. But this, oh my...
Autism is a spectrum, and it's extremely wide. I mean, there are people who have autism that can't even speak.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
and then there are people who are far less disabled than that.
I just think he's way too cavalier with this. He's like, oh, this is like, unless you're, totally disabled, it's not, it's bullshit.
Son has dyslexia, my son. No, you're a fucking shitty parent is what it is. And maybe your kid's just fucking stupid.
What?
Okay, people with dyslexia are not even stupid.
Oh.
Dyslexia is that's like when you have difficulty like reading because the letters, the order of the letters start fucking with your head.
Yeah, I
and
remember
you might have difficulty with left and right, which I have.
I remember you had a friend that was like, Nintendo 46, remember that?
Right.
It's just like, he wasn't stupid.
It's not that he's stupid, it's just that he has a fucking... I mean, dyslexia is not really a serious mental disorder.
No.
It's a learning disability.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's a real thing. And it's not... it doesn't mean that you're fucking stupid or that your parents are shitty. It just means that there's something in your brain that doesn't process that correctly. I mean, like, when you understand... Like, okay, look, if you have a computer... Right? What you basically have is a human being's attempt at creating an artificial brain. And, your computer can start doing wacky shit. Like if you have a corrupted file or something. And the brain is far more complex than your fucking PC.
Oh, yeah.
So it's basically like you have a corrupted file somewhere in your brain. Something is not functioning the way that it's supposed to.
Right.
And that's what causes stuff like that. And for him to say, like, that just doesn't exist, you're a fucking moron.
Yeah, I think this guy is one of the biggest assholes we've covered in a while.
Truly.
Hey, maybe that's it. Maybe it's not a real mental disease. Maybe your kid is fucking dumb. Or maybe you're a shitty parent.
Maybe
but
you're
stop
fucking
blaming her. Here's another one.
Maybe
oh,
you are
attention
fucking
deficit
dumb,
disorder. I don't know. Maybe the teachers are boring as fuck and the kids are just... I'm surprised. Well, everyone...
Sleeping has nothing to do with attention deficit disorder at all.
Yeah.
Right. It's difficulty focusing, and it's like you have all these different ideas in your head at once.
Your
it's hard
mind
to
is
focus on one thing.
I don't know how. I don't know if it's true or not, but I've heard theories that ADD is remnants of hunter-gatherer instinct. Because hunter-gatherers couldn't just sit there and focus on one thing at a time. They were always all over the place, looking for food and other ways to survive. So
Right. I mean, there's different ways of thinking, and maybe there's our understanding of mental health care and mental illness and all this, and mental disabilities and all this stuff is always going to be changing and evolving because we really don't understand the brain yet. we've made enormous strides towards understanding it, but it's not like we have mastery of this.
Yeah, but, you know, the way science approaches this, or, you know, the scientific community or the medical community, is based upon evidence of, like, hey, we know there's a problem, we know there's a disorder, how can we try to best, you know, treat or deal with this disorder? What causes this disorder? We don't just simply say, oh, well, you're a bad parent.
Yeah, I mean, like,
that's a very simplistic answer.
He basically just wants to be dismissive and say, like, this is bullshit.
It's all a bunch of shit.
Just deal with it.
No one had attention deficit disorder then back in high school and college. They didn't dope us up with Ritalin because it wasn't a fucking mental problem. All right, so
Or maybe, I mean, I can't speak for his personal situation, but maybe at his time, the doctors where he lived hadn't decided that, you know, using a stimulant medication helped with attention deficit disorder.
Right, and I think there was definitely a time period, and maybe it's still going on, I'm not really too familiar with the subject at this point, where ADD and ADHD were, like, being massively overdiagnosed.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone can really deny that.
Sure.
But that doesn't mean that there aren't legitimate cases of it.
There were people back in the day who had this kind of guy's attitude about left-handed people. Oh, you're just stupid. Why don't you just learn how to write with your right hand?
Yeah, you can just learn how to do it. Sure.
Yeah, it's not normal. It's bullshit. You're just a shitty parent for not making your kid be right-handed.
Yeah, even though everything is designed for right-handed people, you know, and like
Right.
how detrimental. I mean, because people don't realize it. Like, you know, if you're right-handed, that's a perfect thing. Like, we just take shit for granted. If you're left-handed and it's your dominant hand, like, everything is backwards for you almost.
But no, that's actually just bad parenting.
Yeah,
I don't
right.
believe in all this left-handed bullshit.
Your kid just needs to concentrate on using his right hand more. Just tie his left hand behind his back, then he'll stop being such a fucking whiny baby and do stuff with his right hand.
Adjust.
I think it's all bullshit. I'm calling bullshit on him, right? Secondly, let's assume.
He's saying secondly, but this is like his fourth point.
Yeah, this is like this is point 20.
Let's just give you the benefit of the doubt. Let's just argue. I like to do this with leftists. I like to operate for argue
Oh, he's a right winger.
Okay,
Go
yeah.
figure.
Yeah.
I'm so shocked.
I can't
from their
believe it.
premises, and then using that handicap, which is like shutting down half your brain, still draw logical conclusions and prove things that were wrong. So fucking what? Let's say DDHD is a real thing.
What? Let's say what is a real
Sounds
thing?
like he has a stuttering problem. You must have had shitty parents that didn't make
Yeah.
you speak correctly.
Didn't they make
Or
him? They
maybe
should have made
he's
him attend
just
elocution
dumb.
classes.
Actually,
yeah.
I think he is dumb, actually.
You think he's dumb?
Yeah.
Let's say bipolar
Let's say
is a real thing and not just
is
a
a real
common or
thing.
convenient excuse for really cunty, bitchy women to be cunts and bitches to their boyfriends to play mind games so they get that little adrenaline rush.
Oh, that's where this comes from. That's where this comes from.
This
We all
all
just had-
makes sense.
We all just had
now.
the light bulb go ding.
Oh man! Wow! How fucking transparent.
Yeah,
was
I'm
that
sorry. That
sentence?
is completely transparent. though.
Wow. All right.
Right, playing 90210, make believe 90210. Let's say
I don't know.
bipolar, let's say
He's rambling.
Asperger's, let's say it's all fucking true and real. So fucking what?
Wait,
Live,
so
you gotta
your approach to mental illness and mental disorders and learning disability is so fucking what? Just deal with it.
So,
Probably
what a
fake, but
logical-
if they're real, so fucking
Yeah,
what?
What a logical solution to the problem. TJ, you have heart disease. What should I do? Just keep eating cheeseburgers. I don't know.
Well, first of all, I think
let's
your
say heart disease is real. So
what?
fucking
So
what?
fucking what, dude?
probably fake, but
Let's say your leg really is broken. So fucking what? I wish we could just we could treat all medical issues like that.
are you pregnant? Walk that shit
Yeah,
off.
walk it off. You'll be fine.
Walk that baby off.
Squat that baby out. You'll be back to normal in a few minutes.
Actually, you could walk to the abortion clinic.
live with it.
off.
It's not me telling you, man the fuck up and live with it. I'm saying
Well,
you got
people-
no choice but to live with it.
People are living with it.
So you can make a decision, which is
So are you saying that they should just live with it and not get treatment if there's a way to help them? I don't understand.
I don't know.
That makes no sense. This guy just needs to be beaten to death with a tack hammer. I'm sorry.
everybody today seems to be making a decision.
Not a brick.
Not a brick.
Asperger's, and they use it as an excuse for their piss poor for performance in life. They use it as an excuse not to try to sit there
Unlike
really living
you,
in their
who
mother's
is
basement,
obviously
really not
massively
giving a try, and really not trying hard in life. Meanwhile, proof is before in previous generations that must have had these disorders, they got off their asses and did something with their lives. So the
all of
choice
them.
is yours. It really is.
So there wasn't
could say-
bums and indigent people and vagrants, in the 1950s.
No, there was no
time periods.
There was no poverty or anything until very recently.
Yeah, very recently. It was like the 1970s or something. Poverty was like, there's poverty now.
Up until then, every single person had their
Yeah,
shit completely together.
The serfs living in Victorian England and, the people living in medieval times, they're all just living robust lives. Like, everything's great. No one here has mental illness. Everything's wonderful. Society functions perfectly. And then, the 1900s roll around and mental illness, nutty people.
No, it's just the last 20 years.
Well, the last 20 years.
It's
roll around.
liberalism.
It's literally since like 1994. Or wait. Yeah, 1994. That's when everything went shitty.
That tells you how bad TJ is at math. 1994? Yeah, that's right.
Wasn't there a time when someone asked TJ how old you were and you were like 19 and he said like 13 or
Yes.
something like Yeah.
Hey, these are the
Numbers
cards
don't
I've
be
been
my
dealt.
strong
I'm
point,
dyslexic.
fellers.
I got DDH. I got
What the fuck are you-
Asperger's. I got whatever the fuck these worthless psychos posing as psychologists that the DSM come up with. You fine. You got all those ailments. Well, guess what?
So by your definition, there's no such thing as a real psychologist, right?
I'm guessing so.
He is no. Basically, he. Well, I mean, like when you say shit like this, you have to shit on the experts out of necessity, because you're basically saying that you know better than people who have actually done research and written papers and actually studied the subject in depth. But you know better because you pulled some shit out your ass.
Because he's saying they're just extremely biased. Like, they want these diseases to exist, which I don't know why anyone would think that anyone would want that to be the case.
It's
but
just your typical conservative fear of science.
Yeah.
It's just like almost. I would almost call it a psychosis in itself, where they're just like constantly like fuck science. Evolution's bullshit, climate change is bullshit, mental illness is bullshit, but then they'll turn on their fucking webcam and they'll fucking get in their car and they'll use all these things that were contributed to humanity by science, but then as soon as there's something they don't like, they don't even bother to investigate. They don't have any sort of skepticism. They don't have any sort of real inquiry into the matter. They just say, oh, it's bullshit.
It's typical cherry picking by them.
To live with it, and you can either make your life the best it possibly can be, or sit there and wallow in your self-pity. All right. Now, I'm going to deliver this not to be. Well, it is to be somewhat of a shock value, so maybe it shocks your frontal lobes into thinking. But it's also to make because it's perfectly analogous. It's like Ferguson, Missouri. Okay. Look, you can. Hey, you were born black. Okay, you know what? There's going to be some disadvantages with that. Choice number one. Hey, you know what? I'm black. Maybe a discriminated class in society, one of the lower classes. Might have some hurdles to overcome. But you know what? Not under my control that I'm black. I was born this way. But I'm going to try my best anyway. I'm going to prove to other people that, just because I'm black doesn't mean I can. Or you go the Ferguson route. Fuck you, man. We're discriminated.
Yeah.
We're black.
Don't try to change a culture of discrimination. Just accept it and try to work within it.
That's funny how he's like that.
If this guy was standing in front of me, I would literally be beating the shit out of him. I'm sorry. This guy is a piece of shit. I never want to see him on the show again.
This is his taking it in the ass face.
Let's move on. I don't even want to hear.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm done. Next.
Okay.